How's it going, guys? Got another 6.0 replay for you. It's going to be Kaiju on their beloved Slaanesh up against RTK's Ash 07 on the Ogre Kingdoms, supporting some of that new DLC content, as you can see with the Yetis and Thunder Tusk. For the Slaanesh side, we do have an Exalted Keeper of Secrets leading the force with their beloved ability Seductive Glory, that melee defense debuff, and a Rampage AoE, or an AoE Rampage, excuse me, that lasts for 15 seconds. It's very nice. I like it a lot. It's definitely one of the big reasons why you'd bring them, aside from the fact they're just a fantastic melee fighter and pretty good anti-large specialist. They're also just very durable. They can heal themselves with their Feasting on Fear. They have an AoE Mortis engine, which I don't typically take, but if you do have the spare funds, why not? It's pretty decent. And their Glamour of Slaanesh, which is a nice fat -5 melee attack to any nearby enemies within that 35-meter range, which is very nice. But yeah, we also have Pavane for that, of course, another Rampage, a dual Rampage. Basically, that's the reason why people would take them. But aside from the other reasons I have listed. And then Ballad of Blows, another ability I take if I have the funds, but won't go out of my way to specifically grab it. It's very nice. It provides massive melee stat buffs all around. Just really helps seal the deal on if you're when you find that keeper in a duel with, say, like a Thunder Tusk, or I don't know, Crushers, for example. So it just helps turn fights around very, very quickly. Forsaken will be the front line. They will mulch through any of the Noblar infantry of the Ogre Kingdom side. Yes, even the Piggyback Knights. I wouldn't say mulch through the Piggyback Knights. Obviously, they will be a lot more durable than the rest of them, but and put up a lot bigger of a fight. But I believe the Forsaken will still win that, as I've tested it before, unless some things change. Sometimes things are random with the way units perform. But otherwise, we have Devoted Marauders in the on the flanks, and the spear variants, as they are just cheap spears, are just very cost effective against Ogre Kingdoms, as most of their stuff is very lightly armored, and they're all mostly large units. So, for the Cav side, that also takes effect. That also applies to, say, their Hellstriders, which normally aren't that great, but against this lightly armored heavy faction, they do fantastic. Seekers, Hellstriders, and Internal Entourage. Same on the other side, minus the Internal Entourage, of course. We just have 2 Hellstriders. Just a very, very cost-effective cav here that's going to do wonderful against the Ogre Kingdoms. For the Ogre Kingdoms, we do have the Thunder Tusk, which provides that Frostbite and melee magic and melee attacks, which is very nice. And on top of that, they have that Chilling Aura, so another 30% coupled together for a 60% when you get them in melee, which is very, very nice. It's very disruptive. And then they, of course, have Frostbite as well on their missile, the little Thunder Ice missile, which they've been shooting at the Forsaken and have been hitting the tail end of the unit, because artillery sometimes works like that, or rather mostly works like that, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, against fast infantry like Slaanesh's, I can't imagine it hitting very often, just because it's constantly just going to be hitting at that tail end. But otherwise, the rest of the army, we have a Paymaster with their ability Cash Cascade, which is really nice. You can throw that down anywhere. You don't have to be near it. It's not an AoE. You can put it down. Well, it is an AoE in the sense that you could put it down and affect multiple units, but it's not around the Paymaster himself. So if you see like Crushers charging into something, or like a Thunder Tusk charging into something, you can throw that down real quick on top of them, and it'll give them some very, very nice stat increases with 8 leadership plus 24 melee attack and a whole bunch of charge bonus as well. So yeah, definitely very nice to throw that on top of like some cav charging in. It's very, very effective. Just a great support lord in my opinion, and I definitely would bring them often. Gold Glorious Gold will also be on them as well. Another cheap-ish ability. I think they're both about 100 each. I could be wrong, 150 maybe, but otherwise it's a very nice stat increase, and has pretty good range at 55 meters. So hitting all of these units, that's fantastic. But yeah, it provides that plus 8 melee attack and a bunch of weapon damage increases as well. So very support heavy build we've got going on so far. But a Bragg the Gutsman as well, a nice anti-large specialist. I like him. He's relatively cheap. I wouldn't say cheap, but he's an okay cost. I could see him I could see it being worth factoring into some builds, but he's cost effective for sure. He has nice stats all around, with fantastic bonus large of 30 and a whole bunch of AP, 352 to be exact. And he's obviously getting another 50 weapon strength in general from Gold Glorious Gold. So very nice. And he's also immune to ITP, which a lot of the Ogre Kingdoms units are not. So that helps a lot with keeping something on the field, and that's not susceptible to terror routes or fear. We also have Yetis as well, with that Aura of Frost, so minus 15%. And then, of course, they have Frostbite on their melee attacks, plus magical attacks once again. Pretty decent stats, very nice AP values at 88 with base 44. And yeah, they're more of like a support unit, especially with that Aura of Frost for that -8 melee defense, which stacks up obviously with a bunch of the other nice debuffs, like the Piggyback Riders, and they're disoriented, so you throw them with the Piggyback Riders, that'd be very nice. Very, very deadly. And then, of course, their stats are just being increased right now by the Paymaster, which is nice. But yeah, Butcher with the Beasts, got a Flock of Doom, of course. That's a main staple nowadays with extra ingredients, and Maw Shard. Tactical Lich has a video on that if you don't know what that does. It's pretty simple. 60% spell mastery, so your spells are 60% more effective. Lasts for a certain amount of time, or 22 seconds. So you can get, for Flock of Doom, you can get one like overcast off and it'll do fantastic damage. But typically I'd use it with like the Lore of the Maw, so to get even more healing, make my healing even more effective. Again, Tactical Lich video, I'll post it in the description or in the comments. For everything else, a whole bunch of Novel Trappers. We've got Piggyback Riders, an extremely cost-effective Spear Infantry, which acts more like Cav in a way, in the fact that their models don't get knocked down. I'll post Tequila Sunset's video on it in the description or comments. Irritatingly good. Some people want the Piggyback Knights banned for that exact reason, specifically because of that disoriented effect, and of course their massive charge bonus, which is just higher than some Cavs. But yeah, just watch Tequila Sunset video. I won't go too into it. Thundertouch charges in after missing or throwing in some shots and not doing too much. Decides, screw this, I'm just jumping in there. Does it quite a lot of good disruption there, and some nice damage overall. Otherwise, though, the Forsaken that aren't being interrupted by SEs or Yetis or Wrath Gutsmen, who do charge into that middle and absolutely destroy the Forsaken, those mulch through the Noblars and are going to start making their way into the back line, get on top of those Noblar Trappers. Noblar Trappers throwing in their shots. The Pavane goes down on the Man-Eaters with great weapons, which makes it so they can't stop this influx of Hellstriders, Seekers in the back line, just getting into all your goodies here. So that means, though they're protected from not being swarmed, it also means that they can't protect anything back here in return. And the Piggyback Knights are just getting absolutely massacred now, considering they're being overrun by 3 different Cav units plus the Keeper. We got a massive Flock of Doom overcasted here, I believe, on top of the internal entourage with that Maw Shard, which is very nice. Yeah, let me see. Yeah. He saw the Maw Shard used, and the internal entourage took a lot of damage there. Let's look at that value there in the Butcher. 865 gold value, 5,901 damage with that Flock of Doom. That was very, very nice. I don't know if that was all at one cast, obviously, but still, that's pretty great. We get a Narcissism going down on the Butcher, possibly trying to catch them out with the Exalted Keeper there. Does get a hit in there. Very nice. Does a decent modicum amount of damage. We have the Man-Eaters coming in, though, and the Seductive Glory is popped, reducing the melee stats of all of these units nearby and rampaging them. The Man-Eaters are down to 18 melee defense. So rough for them. That's what I forgot to go over as well. Man-Eaters great weapons were brought because the Crushers and a lot of monstrous Cav right now are bugged because of their splash attacks. So now you're going to rely on these great weapon anti-infantry bonus or large specialist units, which aren't as cost effective as Crushers and find themselves getting stuck in combat a lot of the times. But another massive overcasted Flock of Doom hitting the Hellstriders. Very nice. and the Seekers as well, plus the Keeper, I believe. Ballad of Blows popped, and the Thunder Tusk is chasing after the Exalted Keeper, who is, to be fair, at a little less than half HP, so it's justifiable why the Thunder Tusk would continue chasing after them. But I think they're overstepping here because now they're being chased by Seekers and the Hellstriders as well, and then we have some more Devoted Marauders coming to support most likely as well. Though it looks like more like they're chasing the Exalted Trappers. But yeah, the Exalted Keeper turns around, gets a massive hit, and another massive hit back to back on that Thunder Tusk. Their leadership is going down to 9 at the moment. Takes another hit there. Oh my god, look how much damage they're taking. Jesus, what is happening here? Is because Obsessive Adoration. That's from the Eternal Entourage, aren't they? Aren't they over here? No, they're surrounding. The unit card is still stuck up here because of the Noble Trappers. That is insane. We get an overcasted Flock of Doom once again, though, hitting the Seekers and the Eternal Entourage. But my god, the Exalted Keeper with the Ballad of Blows and that Obsessive Adoration was just absolutely insane. Landed pretty much like 3 or 4 hits in a row. That Thunder Tusk is gone. My god. That Thunder Tusk did not get as much damage value as it could have. It went from like practically full HP to nothing in just a few hits. That is so insane. That is exactly why I like the Exalted Keeper so much. That's why they're just so good. Man-Eaters do end up routing as they're just completely surrounded right now by Forsaken and Devoted Marauders, which again just pick up so much value just fighting large targets, low armored large targets like that. Yetis and the heroes and lords are just grinding down the Forsaken here, slowly whittling them away. We have some Seekers and Hellstriders, or rather just 2 Hellstriders running down these Noble Trappers, getting them out the field, so making sure that they can't throw their little sharp knives anymore. What do we have left on the battlefield? We have some Noblers over there, but they're not even worth bringing back. Forsaken running away, a whole bunch of shattered Pigback Riders and whatnot. Some Hellstriders coming back along with some Devoted Marauders after they finish chasing off those Noble Trappers. We have, what else? More Pigback Riders shattered. Man-Eaters great weapons still have 7 models, 1600 HP. This is what sucks here. It'd be really nice if we had the Maw lore here to heal them up, but with Troll Guts, but the issue is obviously Flock of Doom is just so incredibly cost effective into Slaanesh's Cav and just demonic units in general because they rely so much on their physical resistance. Yetis get a hit with the Fascination, but instead of rampaging them over here or at another unit, it just continues rampaging them into the Devoted Marauders. But that's fine because in the meanwhile it's doing a little bit of damage at the very least. Man-Eaters charge into the Hellstriders, who do charge in, trying to get a sneaky little bit of damage in, and they get shattered practically immediately, though they do pick away at the Man-Eaters, who are very, very low health at the moment, 970, though still at 37 leadership, holding strong thanks to the Paymaster nearby and winning combat. Another Flock of Doom hitting the Seekers, not overcasted this time, doing some pretty decent damage there, chipping away at them. Seems like we're going to have, just considering that there's pretty much no Noblars nearby aside from these crappy low quarter of HP Noblars. They just kind of rely on this just mob, this Goon Corps. Goon Corps? Excuse me? Just a little SE squad here, which are, the Eddies got rampaged by Pavane Overcasted. And instead of like turning around and chasing after these units or anything like that, they're still chasing after the Devoted Marauders because they're technically still enemies in the game. Whether them be shattered or not, it matters. It does not matter. But the Eddies or the Butcher is going to take a hit there from the Exalted Keeper there, and going to hit with Fascination, or Narcissism, and Seductive Glory, so it's rampaging, and has melee defense down to 16. But in return, the Exalted Keeper, for that sneaky little hit there, they are going to start getting attacked by the Man-Eaters. They do take a hit and get staggered, but are able to get out. And then they charge into Devoted Marauders, which obviously is going to go bad for the Man-Eaters with great weapons, who do turn around and attempt to charge back into the Hellstriders. But they are going to be probably finished off here soon. Only 835 HP left. That that melee debuff from the Exalted Keeper, what did I say was called? It's a Glamour of Slaanesh, is really playing dividends here. But luckily the Paymaster is kind of outweighing it with his own buffs. He does throw down his coin cascade buff. So buffing up all the stats of all these units. Even the Butcher here is decent fighter with a 5740 with 419 weapon strength. But he's no Exalted Keeper, and the Exalted Keeper is making mincemeat of that Butcher, actually butchering him to pieces as that Butcher ends up running away terrified and might not come back, I imagine. Bragg the Gutsman is just getting as many hits in as possible on the Exalted Keeper while he's there, and he's picking up some pretty good damage on him. Let's look at the value so far. 738, not too shabby. It hasn't paid for himself yet, but got some decent damage done. 4600. This is one of the biggest issues with like anti-large, rather just duelist ogre lords and units like these, is that they're just too slow and can't catch up to anything a lot of the time. But he is durable at the very least. So anytime the Exalted Keeper does go in and try to go for a sneaky little stab, the Gutsman is able to get a hit. And there we go. Nice little hit there. 2900. Can Gutsman get another hit in? Yes. Another hit in there. About 500 or so damage, if not less. The Eddies are not coming back. Then you have 3 models left after they got finished off by the Exalted Keeper. Paymaster, now terrified and running, though he was 2v1ing that Exalted Keeper. I think the spears are one of the main issues right now, just constantly whittling away at these guys. And of course, the Exalted Keeper does cause terror as well, which the Paymaster is not immune to, unlike Bragg. Bragg, can you get another hit in here? Come on, just a few more hits, like two or three more hits could probably seal in the deal. Though they do have 1700 HP. It looks like very little compared to that HP bar. But we did get another hit in there. 1363. Come on, just 1 or 2 more hits. But those Devoted Marauders are just constantly just slowly chipping away at Bragg. And of course, he can't rest ever. So he's just exhausted, reducing his stats by -18 on his melee attack and -4 on his melee defense. Plus, obviously, all these other ones as well. And then on top of that, Glamour of Slaanesh. So we do get a Battle of Blows going down, bringing him up to 59 melee attack. We do exchange blows for a second there, down to 583 heal, and Slaanesh takes it. Battle of Blows coming in clutch there. The Exalted Keeper had 583 health there. That's just how strong the Gutsman is when he actually gets in some hits. And my god, that was so incredibly close. If the Devoted Marauders weren't there, I think the Gutsman probably could have clutched it out. I don't know. I keep calling him the Gutsman as if there's any other Gutsmans, but my god, that was actually super freaking close. And here I was thinking that that Gutsman wouldn't have paid for himself, considering that at that point that we had looked at his value, he only had like 700. And again, like I said before, it's very hard for them to catch anything with how slow they are majority of the time. But Kaiju knows that the Exalted Keeper has to get hits in to turn things around. Otherwise, the game is going to go into the Ogre Kingdoms. If you have an expensive anti-large specialist like the Exalted Keeper, you need to get those hits in, because all that weapon strength needs to be put somewhere. And of course, that terror as well. You need those terror routes from the Exalted Keeper. 3279 on the Exalted Keeper. Very nice. Incredible amounts of value there with obviously the overcasted pavilions and just absolutely destroying that Thunder Tusk. My god, obviously it was the Exalted Keeper paired with the internal entourage, but the Keeper mostly did the damage itself. It was just the internal entourage chipping away and also providing that buff, which again really helped. But yeah, that Battle of Blows came in clutch twice there. Once on the Thunder Tusk, and then twice the second time again on the Gutsman there. She's doing fantastic work, really buffing up that Exalted Keeper. Ooh, that was a very spicy little fight. 287, 12, 23 on the Devoted Marauders. That's probably the most value I've seen on a Devoted Marauder spear unit. I mean, that's just Devoted Marauders in general. I mean, that's so cost effective. And that's, again, why I said why spears are just so good against Ogre Kingdoms. But Forsaken did fine. They're mostly just mulching through Nobbler, so you can't expect them to pick up much value. Hellstriders did fine. Same with Seekers. They did their job. And 1126 on the Internal Entourage. So you're not going to see every game where Internal Entourage just gets like 2,000 to 3,000 value. Here they got a decent chunk of value at 1126 didn't pay for themselves, but their aura, their little passive buff, they really helped out on a very, very crucial fight. Because if that Thunder Tusk had stayed around for that late game, I'm not sure if Slaanesh could have had it. But that Thunder Tusk going away like that was very, very unfortunate for the Ogre Kingdoms. I believe he got rampaged or something from what I saw. I just couldn't mention it at the time because there were so many other things going on. And and then the Ogre Kingdoms player just continued letting it chase at the Exalted Keeper. They could possibly snipe them out. I'm not sure. But 316 on the Paymaster. Of course, they're a support lord, so you can't expect a lot of value from them, but they did solid. The Gutsman, he got 1800 value there. Very nice. He did pay for themselves. I believe maybe, I could be wrong. I just looked at his value the other day, or rather his cost the other day. I think he's around 12 to 1300 if you strip him down to nothing. I could be wrong though, again, like I said. But we'll see. I'll put the value on the screen, of course, and we'll see if they paid for himself. 25, 38. But yeah, I guess go back to Gutsman. I like him. I'm not sure how often I use him, but I do really like that. I do really like that remove ITP item he has, but it's 200, so it's kind of hard to factor him in with that much cost. But stripped, I think he's a pretty solid choice against factions like these who would bring a lot of large target like fiends and keepers or just lots of cav. And especially with a lot of terror causing and fear causing units. Because again, on the Ogre Kingdom side, you don't have a lot of units that are immune to Psycho ITP. 25, 38 on the Butcher. Now that's some good value right there. As I said, Flock of Doom is just insanely cost effective against Slaanesh, and that's pretty much why you'd bring it over Maw every time, despite healing being really, really effective. It's just so good to constantly just punish the massive amounts of Seeker spam or Hellstrider spam that Slaanesh does. And of course, I'm sure the Maw Shard helped out a lot there. Pigback Knights and Pigback Riders kind of just got swarmed there by the massive amount of cav. Seeker's just really cost effective and just really, really good. Yetis, 931 there on them, 165 kills. Very nice support unit. I like them. I think they have, yeah, they have weakness of fire, which I think is a bit silly. I don't know why they have weakness of fire. They have no regen. They're just a frosty creature from the icy mountains. Like, why does that matter? They're not made of ice or anything. They don't have regen, so why are they weak to fire? It's just so silly to me. The Stonehorn, or the Thunder Tusk, is also like a wintry themed unit, isn't he? Or isn't it? If not, even then, even if it's not, it's still a bit silly. But Man Eaters, how do they do with 1200 value? I still don't. I think they paid for themselves. I could be wrong. 12 to 1300, I believe, somewhere around that price range. They're okay. Again, they're lightly armored, so they can take a lot of damage very quickly from spears and whatnot, and just like infantry that don't rely on AP and have a decent amount of weapon strength. So you got to be very careful with them, unlike the Crushers. But other than that, they did fine. It's just they don't have like the mass that heavy Crusher Cav does. But they did good. They were pretty cost effective at like constantly staggering the Keeper of Secrets and keeping them in place. And of course, if they didn't get Pavane, they definitely might have helped a lot with that Hellstrider Seeker fight in the early beginning. But they would have possibly have been alone. I'm not sure. 1640 on the Thunder Tusk, despite being sniped out, still did pretty good, but did not pay for itself. Close, but no. I think it's around 2100 or something like that. 23. No, I think it's like 23, 24. I know it's over the Stonehorn, the harpoon launcher, Stonehorn. But yeah, really close game. Kaiju was not playing when they said that. Really, really good game. And cool to see the new units. I will catch you guys next time with another one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.